Hey y'all. Why do I feel like this color looks weird? Am I the only one that feel like I look weird? Thank you. How are you guys? Happy, wow, Thursday. Hey, not my monkey. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. I'm waiting on... So Ivory's not on here yet. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I'm so happy for that. Y'all, excuse me. I sound rude. Hey. Hold on. I don't know where Ivory is, y'all. She's coming. You work the weekends. I'm sorry. Hey, Raquel. Y'all, I have to try to stay on point tonight because my little squirrel brain is going to struggle tonight. I'm literally a squirrel brain. Hey, Rod. Rod. Not somebody in here. The Good American Family. What is that? Thank you. Hey, Pam. Where's Ari? I am good. Yo, I just think that is hilarious. I am good. I'm just a little tired. Oh, did Natalia agree? Oh, you know, I do think... Wait, why? The fact that you have no neck on your profile is diabolic. Thank you. Like, that is legit diabolic. Oh, wait, I wanted that picture back there. Hold on. Where's that picture again? Okay. Oh, hold on. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. Let me check and see if Ivory's up here yet. Because she probably... Oh, she's still not. Where's Ivory? Not the toothbrush. Why do y'all play like this? Like, why? Y'all are so funny. Thank you, It's Just Me. I am waiting on Ivory so we could talk about some of the things we discovered. All right, so in the meantime, y'all, any of my lives that you've missed, I've reposted the whole thing on YT. Just so y'all know. So anything about the Fiat, the FOIA? I know, Crazy Drake. Look. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. Where's Ivory? I'm gonna pin this real quick if I can. Thank you, Pam. Hey, Magda. So we're gonna go over something that I actually found really interesting today. Very interesting. Where is she? Okay, here she is. When do we sleep? Girl, sleep is for dead people. Friend, turn your volume up.
Why? Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, don't screw up.
Don't
Me there? Let me out.
Don't mute me.
I'm so tired. I'm beat today. It's been a day.
No. I mean, even yesterday was crazy.
And I have no thumbnail.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say you didn't have a thumb, girl.
Oh, I got one of those.
You had me stressed.
Hello, Stitches. Hey. Hello, guys. Hey, Pumpkin Pie.
All right.
Hello, Onward. Thank you, guys. Thank you for these. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Magda, guys. I've been so busy. I'm a hot mess tonight. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Diane. Hello, guys.
Ken Urker's 10-foot pole is in the chat.
Stop it. That's so funny. All right, so I was just trying to get on here. I haven't even been on all day. But I tried to get on here, and I had to go to my backup page because I was looking for that thing before. And tell me Gypsy Rose did a video or a live. I just saw it quickly talking about she's a mom, a girl mom, talking about hashtag empowerment. Hashtag, I was like, stop it now. Like, I can't. Like, what are you going to teach your daughter? I know, Sunshine. I'm sorry. It's been a day. I'm usually on earlier. But yeah, we've all been super busy doing some stuff. And so that's been a little time consuming.
But, you know, if you really think about it, if she was to teach her baby something, wouldn't she be like a more advanced version of her?
Right.
That would be diabolic.
How to steal, how to pick a jabber. You know, how to get rid of your mother when she doesn't let you be with men.
Out of control. So, NPG posted something.
Yes.
That
Come on, Cat.
Is very interesting. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Munchausen by proxy was not the first story. Did y'all?
First defense story, yeah. I did not know that.
No, that like at all. I was not privy to that.
Nope. And I think it's wild that here we are thinking, well, you know, everyone was saying that she had, you know, Dee Dee had Munchausen by proxy and that Gypsy was a victim right from the get-go, right? Like, we all knew this. It was so obvious, they all said. But was it? Because that wasn't Stanfield's first defense.
No.
It was not Munchausen by proxy.
Stanfield's... Oh, Yolanda Saldivar was denied parole.
Speaking of, did I not say that Stanfield was going to be the next her? Sorry, I'm trying to crack a joke here.
That wasn't a very light one.
It was funny.
So I'm going to let
you show my upper body. Can you not see me?
Person. Okay, so the decision came down Thursday when the parole board in Texas denied Yolanda Saldivar's bid for freedom, citing the violent nature of her crime and claims she still poses a continued threat to the community. Yolanda worked for Selena March 9th, 1995, when Selena's dad fired her after accusing her of embezzling money from Tangelo Star Clothing Company, which was planning to open a boutique in Monterrey, Mexico. 2 weeks later. So after Thursday's denial, the next time Yolanda Saldivar will be eligible for parole will be March 2030. Selena's family applauded the denial in a social media post, saying, "While nothing can bring Selena back, this decision reaffirms that justice continues to stand for the beautiful life that was taken from us and millions of fans around the world far too soon." That is really good. I had said before, I didn't think that they would give her parole. Just because Texas is not a state known to give parole on the first go, especially for murder. So it doesn't really surprise me. I don't even think they'll give it to her the second go, to be honest with you. Especially her specifically, just because of the nature of how heinous this crime was. And it was no defense.
Yeah.
It was pure jealousy. It just shows like she's diabolic.
Yeah.
So that's good news. But
yeah, they keep asking, all right, what was the first offense?
I was getting ready. Go ahead.
In both of our chats, I want a few people to take a few guesses on what they think it was.
Yes, I would love that because
I'm going to ask you guys to all take a guess, like what you think their defense was going to be before it was Munchausen. Thank you guys. Thank you for the daily heart means. I appreciate them so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I'm just curious to see if anybody else thought of this. Self-defense, insanity. No, that's what I would have thought. One of those two. So some of my guesses were that self-defense, insanity. Tess. Thank you, Glass Knuckles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That she was abused, kind of.
Close.
Almost. Gypsy's toothbrush.
No, listen, you missed it. Yesterday on live, there was a screen name. Gypsy's underwear crust, but the other word.
All right. You guys ready for it? I know Tess knows it. All right, y'all ready for it?
Thank you.
Yeah, you ready?
Everyone, I'd appreciate it.
Their original defense was battered spouse syndrome.
Let that sink in.
That's what they were originally going to go with.
Now keep in mind, Nicholas had only came to Springfield twice. In the whole 3 years that they knew each other, this man had only been to Springfield twice. So the fact that that is the line that they would try to use is wild.
Yep. You cheated? You saw that? Yeah. Thank you, Sandra. Yep. That's what I'm saying. How... Yes, that's exactly what they mean, Lily Rose. So they were trying to say it was Nick, and she was suffering from battered spouse syndrome. And yeah. And so when they realized that they didn't have enough evidence to prove that, then they had to change her being a victim from Nick to somebody else. And then they went to she was a victim of the victim.
Thank you.
And they moved that to her being a victim of her mother.
Right, he wasn't her spouse. That's
so it doesn't matter. You can still, like, I see, you know what I mean? Your significant other, same difference. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a spouse. I think they just mean the relationship. So when they talk about battered spouse syndrome, it's really just the relationship dynamic, not necessarily that you're married. But I think originally they were trying to say that she was a victim of Nick. And when they obviously couldn't prove that, because I mean, we all saw the text messages, we all saw the videos, we all saw all of that. When they realized that they couldn't prove that without, I mean, she was looking just as bad, if not worse, then they went ahead and they had to find her to be the victim of somebody else. And it ended up being Munchausen by proxy. She then became the victim of Dee Dee instead of Nick. But either way, they were playing the victim card for her.
Facts. Which is pure insanity.
Yeah. Yep.
Like how, but even the fact that that was the first story, to me, that shows on the defense's side that they knew that they were grasping.
Yep.
So I think that that is pretty interesting to see how that was, and it just doesn't make any sense as to why that was allowed to be the first, and then for them to flip it and still run with the fact that she's a victim. They're like, well, okay, so this victim story is not going to really work. Let's go back in a Barney bag and see what we could pull out.
Either way, they were going, and the only way to justify what she did for her is to make her a victim of something. That's really what their ultimate goal. She had to be a victim. Otherwise, she was going away for life because, well, you killed your mother. You know
So
what I mean?
Nick
The only way.
did have the opportunity to speak. He has turned down interviews that he's been offered. And that's one of the things that Ivy was saying the other day. She feels as though when he is going to speak, that will be his last ditch effort to get some sort of justice.
I feel like
I
it would be
honestly think, based off of a lot of what's really going on, like, I think he has a chance more now than I thought before.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And
Go ahead.
Whatever it is that he has is going to be big. Because again, like after all means are exhausted, I feel like that's going to be it.
It has to be. Because if the holdout, because I think the holdout, if he does speak, Gypsy will be in big trouble.
Yeah.
And that's why he's trying to exhaust everything before he puts her out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever he's going to say, I think it's probably going to be just as big as finding out she lied at 6.
Yep.
Hey, Atom.
If you listen, so hold on, let me find it. I gotta find it. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah, Ash has said his counsel may want to show restraint for now. That's what I believe. I don't think it's him saying he's just going to be silent. I do think his counsel is the one with the strategy.
Yeah. And it says they posted, NPG made a post for Nick yesterday. Was this yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. That says, no one tears your reputation. No one tears down your reputation quite like someone terrified that you'll expose the truth. That's wild. Just that saying right there says so much.
What did he say?
No one tears down your reputation quite like someone terrified you'll expose the truth. So that says so much.
And I think part of the truth is going to be that third person.
possible. That's definitely possible. That's a bold statement. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like there's some
He only
things
met her in person twice. Yes. So the first time he met her in person, they went to the movies and she rolled into the men's bathroom, the handicap stall,
yeah.
the sausage. And the second time, and both times she mailed him money, cash, to get to her. So that's the question is like, how could she have possibly used battered spouse? Like, nobody's battered and they mail the money to you to come get there.
So you know what? That's hold on one second. Hold on. I wanna read what this is. All right, battered spouse syndrome is the psychological effects of living with intimate partner or spouse violence. So it involves all of the physical, sensual, mental torture and abuse that happens in day-to-day life. Women are more at risk for undergoing torture and abuse by their spouses. The symptoms of this are cognitive changes, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, avoidance, and intrusive memories. The treatment for this mainly depends upon strong family support, and so it is better known as battered woman syndrome or battered person syndrome. It's a serious mental health condition that develops as a result of serious domestic abuse, often at the hands of an intimate partner. It is a pattern of signs and symptoms displayed, including emotional abuse, psychological abuse, SA, and whatnot. So they were trying to go with the fact that he was trying to manipulate her, emotionally abuse her, do all of that. Allegedly.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy. They also put up today like little snippets of her prison phone calls. Little snippets of what she was speaking about in prison phone calls with Christy, with Rod, and with her aunt.
That lets you know they got some more SHIT.
Yeah. And so this is really, I guess they tried to compact it. So I'm going to read this to the best of my ability, just because it's not in full grammatical form. But it says on July 24th, 2015, it was a phone call to his mom. Said some stuff at court that she doesn't even remember, didn't know the extent of what he had done. She was traumatized, referring to the evidence at the court proceedings. Understand that I am part of it, even though I didn't mean to be. I've taken a lot of medication, so I can't remember clearly how things happened and all the things that I said under the medication that I wouldn't normally say or do. Attorney told her a plan, even if she was involved, and she trusts him. She told her attorney a lot of things they showed she didn't even remember. Doesn't want to remember. Feels like I'm a victim, even though I'm part of it. Is a victim, praying a lot. So that was with Christy.
Mm-hmm.
This one is to Rod, or with Rod. She's shaken up. Today was bad. If pre-hearing was that bad, we'll need constant Xanax for trial. Was completely honest with attorney on a lot of medication. Wouldn't do that regarding the context of the text messages that were shown at court. Wouldn't do that normally. Pictures taken out of context. Her as Harley Quinn. How do you take those pictures out of context? Attorney has a plan. Battered spouse syndrome. He'll get me the least amount of time possible. Manslaughter. Hold on. 5 to 15 years. It won't get worse than what was shown in court today. Conversations aren't going to get any worse than they were in those texts. Note before Munchausen by proxy was made up, they were going to go with battered spouse syndrome. And then this one was to an aunt. I want to let you all know ahead of time that adult, D-O-L-T, is a stupid person. That's another name for a stupid person. She tells the aunt she's not pregnant, went to court, doesn't enjoy the media attention. He has a defense plan, have memory loss from all the medications, don't remember everything that happened. Her attorney is looking at manslaughter. Nick was cheating on me, talking to his best friend about it. She took 2 Ambien and she has a bad reaction to Ambien. I'm not a unaliver. I don't even hunt. Mom was lying about her age too. She said she was born in 1975. I was in the bathroom, wasn't even in the room. I don't remember giving him the jabber or the gloves. All a big blur. Mom wouldn't let her date. Went on the internet to find her own boyfriend on her own. Thought a Christian site would be the best to find a boyfriend. The woman comments that sometimes that works, sometimes dolts, stupid people. Gypsy said she got herself a dolt. Her lawyer said she has some supporters out there. So I just think that's, first of all, she was talking here about how the Xanax and all the medication she was on, she doesn't remember any of it. It's just a big blur. I wouldn't have normally said that if I wasn't under the influence. However, that's not what she said many times before. No, the medication I was on didn't affect me. No, I wasn't on medication. Like, her story's changed so much because, again, her story is whatever you expect it to be.
Although I will say, her defense, the first go, was closer to the interrogation.
What do you mean?
Like the way she was trying to portray that Nick made her do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
right. But because in the interrogation, at no point was there ever a mention of abuse.
Yeah.
Right. So when you think about like the interrogation, like the direction the interrogation went in, it was more along the lines of, you know, he coerced her, alleged, you know, on based off of what she said. Now, I do want to mention something. I think this is on my YT. I don't know. The live was really weird earlier. But I went through something, and I think I'm going to kind of go over it just a little bit briefly. You don't have what? You don't need that right now. Gio, it's 10 o'clock. He's asking about a necklace.
Oh, about a what?
The necklace again.
That's so funny. My grandson had a big fit today because I wouldn't allow him to wear a necklace. That's so funny.
That is really funny. Okay, up here. Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Yes, Mary Ellen.
Okay, I found it. So I'm just going to kind of like briefly go over this. I know we kind of like briefly spoke on this, right, the other day. But so Greene County judge decides a motion in Nicholas Godejohn's attempt for a new trial. And this article was posted August 9th of 2022. And it says, the Wisconsin man serving a life sentence for killing a Springfield woman back in Greene County courtroom. Nicholas Godejohn was convicted of a first-degree murder for jabbing Dee Dee Blanchard in 2015. He is serving life in prison without parole, plus 25 years for armed criminal action. Attorneys for Godejohn are asking Greene County Judge David Jones to set aside his 2018 conviction based on poor representation. August 9th, it was scheduled for 2 days for this appeal hearing. Dee Dee Blanchard's daughter, Gypsy, pled guilty to second-degree murder July of 2016 for her mother's death, and a judge sentenced her to 10 years. Gypsy Blanchard testified she met Nicholas Godejohn at 28, and prosecutors argued Godejohn killed Blanchard and returned back to Wisconsin with Gypsy by bus. The police arrested him at his home a few days later after the unaliving. Gypsy said she planned her mother's murder, and she also considered poison, arson, and a pew-pew. So Gypsy said she planned her mother's unaliving. She had also considered, she herself admitted she considered poison, arson, or pew-pew. Okay. Now, the judge tells the defense that they have 45 days from that day to file their suggestions for the outcome of this case. The state then has 15 days to file its suggestions, and each side will have a chance to rebuttal the other's filing. Now, she describes herself, Gypsy. So there's a video of Gypsy as Ruby, and it's played out in the courtroom. Now, keep in mind, this was not something that was originally played during the first trial. It was deemed not admissible in court. Okay. So this is the first time that the judge allegedly is actually seeing this. Okay. And she describes herself as the evil side of Gypsy. She's calling Godejohn her match. She describes all of the ways they can be bad and commit crimes together. Perry asked if he's familiar with the video. He said he is, and Perry asked if he played the video for the jury to show Gypsy's manipulation to Godejohn, and he said he didn't, but says the video does show that, and that it should have been played. Perry was also asked about a mental examination being conducted and admitted. Dan Patterson asked Perry about the testimony given by the medical expert. He also asked, He also asked about the plea deal extended to Godejohn. Now, let's be clear, any plea deal that was offered to him still was going to result in life. Okay, it was just going to be spelt differently, pretty much. Patterson asked about the evidence against both Gypsy and Godejohn, and Gypsy being the mastermind. Perry agrees to that. The judge asks about Gypsy being called as a witness against Godejohn. He states that she testified that the unaliving was her idea, and Godejohn did what she asked. The defense asked Gypsy's cooperation with Perry. Perry asked that if the murder was planned, it may not mean that Godejohn contemplated it with cool reflection, but through the lens of an autistic person. Perry agrees, and Perry states that the defendant is entitled to competent counsel at all times. One of the things that I think is very interesting in this part that's coming up is that Dr. Frank's findings was that Nick's autism and his competence to stand trial was fine. Why I think that's really interesting is that this man was collecting a permanent disability check. So you were saying that he wasn't competent enough to work a regular job, but he is to withstand trial. That somehow doesn't make sense. Right.
Right.
Now, a neuro, they had a neuro, but they felt that it wasn't necessary for him to speak on it. Why not?
Who, Dr. Franks was for the defense or the prosecution? He was for the prosecution, right?
Yes.
He was the
The
Patterson's
defense.
witness. He was the defense witness?
Yes. Yes. But so essentially they were trying to bring the neuro in to say, okay, look, you know, and they said that Patterson turned it down. Okay.
Patterson turned down the neuropsychologist to come in and
Correct.
speak on. And did the defense try? The defense never tried to get a neuropsychologist to speak. They just went with.
They just went with it. Okay. And you know, he went with it. Like that's just pretty much what it resulted in. But I also find it very interesting that the counselor in Waukesha, that he was depressed. He had committed, he had thoughts of committing the S word.
Yeah.
She also stated that his only concern was for Gypsy. And she stated that he wasn't very concerned about his charges. And to be honest with you, to me, that indicates that he didn't really understand the severity of the charges he was facing, which was why he was more concerned with Gypsy.
Yeah.
Right. So what's crazy is at this part, Dan Patterson was cross-examining Andrew Med, which I think was, so there was two public defenders.
Right. Harry Media.
Yeah. And Patterson asked, this is the irony. He asked him if he understood that HBO is not a local television station. Patterson asked the defense that. Okay.
After he was just on it.
Right. And he asked Med if he understands that the defendant understands the weight of the crime that they committed. And he says yes. He asked if he was aware of any deals for appeals made by GODEJOHN and that they were all denied. He states yes. Patterson states that the initial strategy was a bench trial before Judge Calvin Holden. This is the thing, this is what we were discussing last night, okay? So Nicholas GODEJOHN waived a jury trial, but at this point, Holden recused himself of the case, okay? Now, when he recused himself of this, GODEJOHN withdrew the request for a bench trial, okay? And the trial was heard more than 3 years after the crime, and now he was requesting a trial by jury, okay? So when that judge recused himself, he decided he'd rather have a trial by jury. I think that that is very important because that indicates to you either obviously the defense knew that Jones wasn't going to give him a fair trial.
Right.
Like he already had the cat in the bag, basically, and that the only hope that they had was going before the jury. Would be my assumption, right?
Yeah.
Now, it is also worth noting that when I looked up why did Holden recuse himself of the case, it says neither party requested him to recuse himself. He did it on his own terms. So I think that that's very important, that it was definitely not the prosecution or the defense that requested for him to recuse himself of the case.
Right.
So it wasn't a personal where someone knew him, or it wasn't that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, they wouldn't allow the clip from Gypsy's phone playing of her walking around Dee Dee's bed, making the jabbing motions. They deemed that as not admissible in the original court, right? At this point, that clip was played in this appeal hearing in front of the judge. Okay. So this is the first time this was played in any courtroom. So the defense also was given a copy of the report made about the forensic exam on Gypsy's cell phone. Okay. And that there was 2 items of interest. The first, photos and videos of walking through the unaliving, including Gypsy making jabbing motions. The second item shows a video of Dee Dee's room, including another walkthrough of the unaliving about a month before it happened. Okay. The report states that it appeared to be documentation showing GODEJOHN what to do to execute the unaliving by Gypsy prior to the unaliving. And Dan Patterson asked if that was presented as evidence during the trial. He said no. Dan Patterson knew all this.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, okay? Now, the second clip is showing the 2020 program of Gypsy's Truth and Lies. It shows GODEJOHN checking into the hotel. Gypsy's being interviewed saying she took medication to calm down before the unaliving. GODEJOHN is seen describing the unaliving to investigators. Gypsy's interview states that she wanted to stop the unaliving but was too scared. The video then shows that she checked into the hotel. The defense says that he would be concerned if the potential jury were to see it. It could sway their opinion. The defense is questioned about why he didn't question potential jurors about what media coverage they saw prior to being seated on the panel. He said that he didn't see a reason why he should ask them. Okay. Now, a clip is shown, a fifth clip is shown of the program Gypsy's Revenge. Gypsy is talking about GODEJOHN telling her that he would do anything to protect her. She asks, would he unalive her mother? He states, yes. The video switches to GODEJOHN at Greene County Jail interview, and he states that Gypsy made it clear that she couldn't be with GODEJOHN if Dee Dee was alive. And she states that getting rid of her is the only option. The defense states that he would be concerned if the potential jury saw that footage because it doesn't allow them to make their own impartial decision. Okay. Um, Now, the fourth clip is shown from the program Gypsy's Revenge, and it's an account of the unaliving. And she says how she wanted to stop it, but she wasn't able to. The defense is asking about his concerns. He states that the clip mitigates Gypsy's role in the unaliving. Now, I kind of do agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It shows the footage of Dee Dee's childhood pictures, the interviews of the family talking about her, Rod Blanchard's interview about Dee Dee. He states he never met anyone like her. He says she stood out. The video shows footage of Dee Dee. And Young asks the defense concerns for potential juries seeing that footage. He said yes, because it humanizes Dee Dee for the jury. Okay, which I get that, right? The clip also shows another clip is shown from the program Gypsy's Revenge, and it shows the SWAT raid on GODEJOHN'S Wisconsin home. The GODEJOHN'S interrogation video is shown. The investigator asks him if he loves Gypsy. He says yes. The investigator says if he loves Gypsy and if he loves Gypsy, he won't let her get in trouble. Now, I think that right there is something that should have been focused heavily on in the defense, because the fact that the interrogator kept saying, well, if you love Gypsy, you won't, that's straight up manipulation. Okay.
And they held over his head the possibility of even being able to see her.
When they knew that they weren't going to let him see her. They knew without a shadow of a doubt.
Right. They can't.
No, the Blanchards did not pay. This was a public defender that both of them had. She cries in the video showing GODEJOHN'S confession that he will commit to unaliving Gypsy. The knife package was sent from Springfield to Wisconsin, and that was also shown. The defense is asked if he was concerned that this aired before GODEJOHN'S trial, and he said yes. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. If anything was to ever happen where this gets overturned or something happens in the court, that right there is something that I feel like this was at fault by the state. Okay, like period.
Yeah.
Okay, like I don't think there's any negotiations about that.
No.
They played. It shows. Okay, so they didn't show. What's crazy is they used parts of "Mommy Dead and Dearest." I don't even understand, because that's a movie that's not even
right.
Like, why would that be a clip?
It's not even factual
at all, under any circumstance.
Right.
And there was quite a few clips. It looks like about 3 clips from that was shown. That is very odd to me. So the defense calls the first witness. This is Stacy Sullivan. That's the counselor at Waukesha County Jail. She recalls interacting with Nicholas Godejohn at the jail at the time of his arrest in Wisconsin in 2015.
Or this is who from the jail?
Sullivan, the counselor from Waukesha. Yeah. So she recalls interacting with Nicholas Godejohn at the jail at the time of his arrest in Wisconsin in 2015. She says that following his booking at the jail, he was put in a mental health unit for observation. The defense counsel asked her to review the evaluation records taken at that time and when Godejohn was first evaluated. And this was June 16th of 2015, so the day after he was arrested. Before I say that, I do want to say that he was in Waukesha County for 30 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Sullivan reads the evaluation records. Gio, go to sleep.
Really, Corinne?
She reads the evaluation for the court. It indicates that he was diagnosed with having autism and Asperger's. She screened him for his mental state upon entering the jail to decide if he needed treatment from the psychiatrist or any other care. Sullivan confirms that he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 15 and heard voices. The record states that Godejohn received federal benefits for his illness. That is very important because I feel like the only time that was stated was in Waukesha County, which
Yeah.
they didn't have any connections to Greene County, and this was just a non-biased opinion. And I think that is very imperative to keep in mind. Sullivan continues to say that Godejohn had thoughts of unaliving himself. He tells Sullivan that he was only worried about his girlfriend, Gypsy Blanchard, at the time of his arrest. Sullivan documents that he was nervous at the time of the evaluation because it was his first time in jail. She says he was relieved to hear about the jail process, but was more worried about Gypsy and how she was being treated. He was tearful, Sullivan says. Godejohn was vulnerable and says that there was a huge concern about him being around other inmates. I think that that is very important. The counselor at Waukesha said she was concerned with him being around other inmates due to him being vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I honestly think that if this would have taken place in Waukesha County, things would have been very different.
Different.
Just even based off of this report, because I don't feel like this was taken into consideration at all at his trial.
Nope.
Okay. So after the initial evaluation, Sullivan continued to evaluate Godejohn 3 additional times until he was removed about a month later. Her notes indicate that the patient is asked about adjustment. He replies that he mostly does crossword puzzles and sleeps to cope. So to me, that indicates depression.
Yeah.
Okay. And he states that he continues to worry about Gypsy. It makes him uneasy. And she says that during the additional visits, Godejohn lacked emotion. Okay,
Yeah.
so it seems as if he withdrew. Like he was present, but he wasn't there.
Right. And you also got to remember that that would make the symptoms of the Asperger's worse.
So the prosecutor, Dan Patterson, questioned Stacey Sullivan. He asked her about the notes on her records indicating that Godejohn doesn't appear to have mental health issues or needed at the time of the initial evaluation. His speech was clear and oriented to person, place, and time. Behavior was calm, appearance clean, and his thought process was within normal limits. A few days later, he was evaluated again with the same findings. Same notes were made during the last visit with Sullivan. The only reason I did what I did was to be with my girlfriend is listed multiple times. Defense asked more questions. She states in the notes indicating Godejohn's mood. Sullivan states that he is depressed. Patterson asked if all inmates say they're depressed when they go to jail. Sullivan says yes. The witness is excused. So I think that this is worth really kind of talking about really quick, because Patterson asked all inmates say they're depressed when they go to jail. Sullivan says yes. Okay. But are all inmates collecting permanent disability? So how could that be a comparison? It can't be, right? that was like a,
Trying to just put him with the masses,
yeah,
saying
he was
that,
trying to mitigate,
well,
he
that's
was,
not a personal response of Nick's. That is a response of every inmate that goes into jail that all depressed because of their, for whatever reason. And so he was trying to put him with the masses instead of making it about him personally.
exactly. Now, this part is very, very interesting. So the defense calls Paul Curry Godejohn's uncle. Godejohn's mother is brother. He states that Stephanie Curry passed away June of 2021. Curry states that he lived with his mother, his sister, and Godejohn when he was a baby. Defense asked if he knew if there was any complication with Godejohn's birth. The prosecution objects, and it was sustained. The defense asks if Godejohn looked normal as a child. The prosecution objects, states that Curry is not a doctor and his appearance as a child is not relevant at the time of the crime. The time the crime was committed. The defense attorney states that Curry's opinion is relevant and that a doctor would have asked. Curry states that Godejohn was different from other kids and his thought process wasn't as developed as normal children do. He states that Robert Godejohn and Stephanie Curry's, he asked about Robert Godejohn and Stephanie Curry's relationship. The prosecution argues that line of questioning is irrelevant. The judge allows testimony of Curry's interaction with Godejohn over the years. He states that his nephew didn't know how to relate to people and lacked communication skills. Curry states that on one occasion, Godejohn was bullied but didn't realize it because he lacked the ability to comprehend what was going on. He further states that the witness, Godejohn, often talking to himself. He wasn't cared for or taught the basic hygiene practices. Curry states that during high school, he lived with his father. Post high school, Godejohn moved back with his mother, and her assistant. Her husband assisted with filing Social Security. All right, so I'm gonna move on a little bit further. Most of the information that they wanted to present in this hearing, it was objected by Dan Patterson. Okay, now a lot of the videos were able to be done. But again, I want to mention that Mommy Dead and Dearest, I don't think that wasn't an accurate documentary. That wasn't like proof of anything. Like I can't fathom why they would bring that. But obviously Dan Patterson was probably okay with it because he knew it was fictional and it went towards a story that they wanted to play. It fit their agenda. So Wasserman was a pediatric neuro. Okay. He was hired by the defense attorney, but that's the one that they wouldn't allow.
He was a neuropsychologist, right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow his opinion because they already had Dr. Denny and Dr. Franks.
Right. Okay. The defense plays the video of Gypsy Blanchard walking from her mother's bedroom and making jab motions towards her pillow. Okay. Wasserman talks about the character Ruby. Now, he is in this appeal. Okay. The appeals hearing, he is brought in. So this is Wasserman. In this appeals hearing, this is Wasserman speaking. So he wasn't at the original trial, but he is here in this appeal, right? They said the video was an instructional video sent to Godejohn. Wasserman talks about the other character, Ruby, introduced to Godejohn by Gypsy. Text received the day of the unaliving containing more instructions to be carried out by Godejohn. The police interrogation videos were discussed, Wasserman says that Godejohn's autistic behavior was evident. Godejohn continues to say that he was worried about Gypsy. He says that Godejohn's reading ability is about a fourth grade level, which I think that alone should have brought a lot of things into question, because the legal system is normally based on between a sixth and an eighth grade level. So he couldn't even really comprehend what it was that they were presenting him with.
Right.
Okay. So if that doesn't tell you that that's a breach of his civil rights, the fact that even just that is stated like a fourth grade level is insane. All right. Wasserman says Godejohn's way of thinking at the time of the unaliving was to please Gypsy and likely panicked. The defense attorney asked if Godejohn could deliberate prior to the unaliving. Wasserman replied that Godejohn would have just been focused on the task at hand, which I believe that, because it's a white or black, it's no gray area, right? And
No.
yeah.
He can only focus on one thing at a time, and that was his focus.
Wasserman asked Dr. Denny made any mistakes in his characterization of Godejohn when describing his level of autism. He replied that Dr. Denny's assumption about Godejohn's condition were inaccurate based on his experience. Wasserman says that Godejohn isn't able to function normally due to his autism. So what I think is really odd is that the doctor opinion mattered more than the neuropsychologist.
What do you mean that? You mean
Like,
it was
I
more
feel like
valid?
Wasserman had a little more insight. Yeah,
Well, the neuropsychologist would be able to break it down on a level that Denny and Franks weren't educated on. They couldn't
exactly.
speak intelligently or specialize.
Exactly.
So they were just
Exactly.
psychologists, not neuropsychologists. They don't
Right.
specialize. Right.
Right. So I think Wasserman would have been a better, it would have been better to take what he was saying than Dr. Frank. Okay. Like, is what I'm thinking.
Right. Right.
Okay. So the prosecution questioned Dr. Wasserman. Wasserman had asked if Godejohn could think. He says yes. He asked about Dr. Frank's testimony from the unaliving trial against Godejohn. Frank testified that Godejohn said that he gave his word to Gypsy that he would unalive her mom. The prosecutor said that a year before the unaliving, Godejohn told his friends that Gypsy was crazy for wanting to unalive her mom. He asked Wasserman if this was proof that Godejohn had the ability to rationalize as a person without autism. But how could you say without autism? Because that's not an option. He has it.
So wait, repeat that question. What they were saying that they were asking whether or not he would be able to rationalize as well as a person without autism.
Yes.
So they're in a way because autism affects someone's rationalization.
Exactly. So how could that even be an option? It can't be.
The answer's got to be no. So you can ask it, but the answer is no because
He said it's possible. The prosecutor reviews the unaliving plan discussed by Gypsy and Godejohn and asks if Wasserman is indicative of the person who had the ability to make a sound decision. The prosecutor brings up that Godejohn's persona of Victor, who was a dominant vampire. Well, that should already tell you that there's a red flag. And why are they holding him more accountable than the girl who planned it?
right.
That's the real question. You're holding the man with autism, other mental health issues, and a low IQ more accountable than the person that plotted it.
Right.
So now at this point, Wasserman is dismissed. The defense calls Dan Gladwell. Ooh, I didn't see this part. So they sent explicit videos to each other. He discussed how they role played occasionally. He referred to Gypsy as being shy and timid. He says he developed a taste of power exchange roles playing from her. He said that, and how would he know about any of this if it wasn't true?
Yeah.
Okay. He said that she would send clothes list pictures, dressing up in costumes and using various fictional names. Gladwell said he was injured and Gypsy visited him while he was in the hospital, and she told him she wanted to go to Arkansas to restart her life. No questions from the prosecution. The witness is dismissed. The court is in recess. But that's just like really interesting that they didn't ask more questions from Dan Gladwell. I feel like that wasn't enough.
No. No, not at all. Look at what he would have testified to when he got up there. There's a whole lot more that he would have
Thank you.
testified to.
Right. So that in and of itself, I think is really odd.
Yeah.
But with all of that being said, my bad, y'all.
You okay?
With all of that being said, I just find it very odd that the judge would still say, yeah, I know none of this was presented in court, but I really don't think that any of this would have made a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way.
That to me is like a super red flag.
Exactly.
Because why would that not be something that would have made a difference?
All of it would have made a difference. That's the problem. All of it would have made a difference.
Even just one of those things being brought into court would have made a difference. Just one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ivory and I at one point kept saying, well, we wonder what connections like Stanfield has to have. Because there has to be something deeper that we're unaware of. Well, Ivory and I went down the rabbit hole.
We sure did. And what a rabbit hole. Actually, it wasn't too deep.
Gio, you need to go night. It's 11:01. You don't
The
need
rabbit
to.
hole of that is not that deep. Thank you, Lisa.
Gio will tell me he needs everything but his bed.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So, child, the teeth gets real deep, and actually, I feel a little bad.
It is how do you say, it is I can't even say it without, like, it's sad. It's sad.
Should we start with the plasma?
The what?
The plasma? Because that was the thing I was stuck on for a very long time.
Let's just start with history, all right? We'll just start with a history. Actually, let me pull up this history if this cat doesn't get out of my way. Let me pull it up. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
Misbehaving is in here, misbehaving again.
Oh.
And misbehaving this morning talking about, ooh, squirrel brain, because when I randomly got up, started fixing something.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, ooh, I lose focus so easily.
All right, so I'm going to read this. just to get everybody on the same wavelength, okay? Now, you know what I want to do? I kind of want to read both of theirs. Like,
Are
Patterson
y'all
and
ready for this? Are y'all
just
ready
to
for
whittle
this?
down, but so I'm gonna read. Have any of you read Mike Stanfield's
Oh, hold on. Let
law
me hold my wig there. Okay, I thought it was going to
website?
blow up.
Okay. Now, 17 years he's practiced law. 17 years, guys, at least. It's probably been longer
Well,
than
he was
that.
a public defender for allegedly for 17 years, correct?
It's spent more than 17 years in the courtroom. That's what it's saying. We're going to say that he was at least 17, 18 years, right? That's a long time. That
As
is
a public
a
defender,
career,
yeah.
man. That is like your entire. Um, I'm going to try and say this with as much.
Cool.
So, yes. So, the amount of experiences that you have over the years, the amount of cases that you see, the amount of opportunities that you have, the amount of just things that you. All right, let me just read this. I can't even. I can't make something out of nothing. All right, so it says when you're. I'm just gonna read you. Thank you. I'm just gonna read you the Almighty Stanfield bio here. When you're faced with legal challenge, you need an experienced trial attorney to help guide you through the process. Mike Stanfield has spent more than 17 years of experience in courtrooms all across Missouri. For an advocate to be at their best, they must have a solid base of knowledge to build off of. Mike started his path by obtaining a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, cum laude, from the University of Central Missouri, then Central Missouri State University. To further increase his knowledge base, he stayed at Central Missouri and obtained a master's degree in criminal justice administration. At the University of Missouri Kansas City School of Law, he was awarded the Latchaw Award. Is that the Latchaw Award for excellent studies in criminal law? The end. No, I'm just kidding. It should be, but it's not. During his educational journey, Mike took every opportunity to gain practical experience. He completed a summer internship at the St. Peter's, Missouri Police Department. During law school, he clerked for Lance Sandage, a top criminal defense attorney in Kansas City, learning local, state, and federal criminal defense. His third year of law school, he interned at the Missouri State Public Defender's Office in the Kansas City Trial Office. The best advocate is one who is not only highly trained but time-tested. This led to a 16-year career as a criminal defense attorney as a public defender before opening his own firm. Mike Stanfield is one of the only lawyers in Sorry, guys, hold on. Mike Stanfield is one of the only lawyers in Southwest Missouri who has graduated from the National Criminal Defense College's rigorous 2-week trial practice institute. He has appeared and tried cases in numerous counties, from Marshfield to St. Joseph, with an excellent track record of success. Y'all ready? No case is too small or too big. Mike has appeared on speeding tickets, argued to grand juries on murders, and was lead counsel for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Let Mike bring you all of this to bear fruit. That doesn't, I need somebody. Mike, fix that. That doesn't make sense. Let Mike bring all of this to bear for you. That's not making sense. Am I just really tired, or does that not make sense, that sentence? Let Mike bring all of this to bear for you. Bear, like, that doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. It's not, I don't know what that sentence is trying to say, but I think he's trying to say, let Mike bear it all for you. It's spelled bear like B-E-A-R. Let Mike bring all of this to bear for you. Okay. All right. I'm tired. So, yeah.
So,
But that's the whole about me. That's everything he's accomplished in a 17-year career. He went to law school. He
well,
had an,
let's.
he had an internship, and he defended Gypsy Rose. Well, he showed up to a pretrial because she didn't actually have a trial. So there's that. So it's not like he went to court and actually litigated or argued anything. But Dan Patterson handed you a plea deal. But that's his career. And all over his website's about section, featured in ABC's 2020, featured in HBO, featured in KOLR 10. Yeah. For Gypsy Rose, not because you're some great attorney who actually sat there and fought a trial and won. So that is her. Yeah, he finally got his own practice last year. So you got everybody writing off the name of Gypsy Rose, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. Why does he think she's such a great person, this manager of hers? Well, because now he finally has something to put on his resume. And now he can add manager because, well, is he that good of a lawyer? I'm just saying. Now he can make money. But yeah, finally his name is somewhere. And unfortunately, he's using the clout of a murderer to make himself known as a lawyer. Just saying. So there's that. You mean of all the years you practiced law, the best case you've ever tried or didn't was Gypsy Rose's case?
First of all, that you didn't try.
The prosecutor handed you a plea deal on a silver platter. What the fuck did you try? You tried not to laugh when you walked out of there, didn't do no work, and won. Like, it was a win-win for everybody. You didn't, what did you try? But, yeah, I've had more experience. Yeah. I've had more experience from your lives than he has. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Yeah. So you see, the problem is why everyone's, she's all like Stanfield, and why now Stanfield is sitting there on Lifetime television, and it's because he's desperate and he doesn't. Well, I'm just saying.
Well, I think you need to give a little more. Okay, look. It's best
I'm not going to work ethic because, well, he doesn't talk much about it. So there's that.
Let's talk about the plasma.
Listen. Go ahead. I'll let Nina do this one.
No, it's on you, Ivory.
I'm not. I broke the About Me page, man, and just. So let me put it to you this way, without ripping in and making it look like. How can I say this with
I don't think I know how to say that because
she does not have herself a top-notch lawyer. With years of experience, like 17 years experience in the career of law, you would think that one would move up. You think that one would gain raises. You think that one would just move on up, and eventually you'll learn when you're down here, and then you move on to bigger and better things, and you advance in your field and you go out there and you, yeah, all of that stuff.
I want you to be.
Law school costs a lot of money. Colleges, master's degrees, all these degrees, they cost a lot of money. If you come out in life after 17 years of having a career in which I don't know if that was a grant that was handed to you, if you won some kind of award, or somewhere somebody paid an awful lot of money for this man to go to school, and he did not break even 17 years post-graduation. I'm just saying. Post passing the bar, he has not made back what he spent on his education. He didn't even break even. Let's just put it that way.
I think that's quite an understatement.
Yes, it is. I'm being nice. So now when you're sitting there and you're 3 years from 20 years in a career. 20 years, guys, is a long time. Okay? 20 years. I mean, my husband retired in 20 years. Like, he did 20 years and retired, but at 20 years, you've hit your he didn't break even from his, from whatever he paid to go to school, his tuition. He didn't break even yet. You shouldn't be that financially struggling as somebody who's put that much time and effort into a career. So to sit there and act like Gypsy Rose has on her staff some
No,
top
no,
notch.
no, 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 Ivy.
I'm not going there. You do the rest. I ain't going there.
You know I'm queen of petty, and I don't want to go there.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have a hate message on my door tomorrow.
I'm gonna have a whole lot of them, yeah. So you can have this one. My whole thing is, you're
Let's
sitting there
just
acting
say,
like, oh,
let's
Stanfield is my manager. Stanfield is your manager because you,
let's just say, say I was to pass
once
the
upon a
bar.
time, I was so broke, I sold my plasma for money.
Yeah, multiple times.
An awful lot because I was so broke. And it doesn't matter. As much as I went to work, I could barely afford to pay my car payment. And so there's that.
And let's just say the pictures that they've posted of their house, it looked like somebody's Aunt Anthony's house with popcorn ceilings.
Yes.
Let's just say
Go check it out. It's
there
public.
was
It's not
a
like
story.
public. You would think so, Breath of Grease. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yes, Peachy. No,
Ivy said, what Ivy said last night on the phone. What she said, Ivy? I want to tell him.
I'll repeat what I say, not on a live.
A friend said she felt so bad she wanted to make a basket chow.
I did. I said I kind of felt bad and wanted to send him a basket. So he's not hopping on that bandwagon to see some great attorney or he offers them any great. In my opinion, I think that's the best offer he's ever got. That's not saying much. Yes, Peachy, the care package, if you will.
Oh man, if you were on the phone with us.
So
we would be planning your funeral.
Exactly.
Because you would be laughing so hard that you would have been like, my inhaler gave out. Okay. Like, out of control.
So yeah, and then to sit there and that be the highlight of your career, being on the payroll of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, being an employee of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, I don't even know what to say, man. I don't even know what to say.
And now I understand why they mad at the fact that content creators out here getting the bag. I get it now. I get it. I get it. Say less.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So I think it's safe to say, on the bright side, I feel like Mike Stanfield just did what he had to do
He
in the
happened
courtroom.
to.
I don't think he was the one who made the connections, made HBO happen. I think he was just doing what his job was and was just like,
I personally believe that Stanfield just happened to be next in line
yeah,
at the public defender's office and walked into that. Um, and do I think that was because of his law skills that she was offered the plea deal? No. I do, however, believe that she was offered that plea deal not because of Mike Stanfield, but because of Dan Patterson. That was Dan Patterson doing. It was not the doing of Mike Stanfield, in my opinion. And when we go over this in more depth, I will give you the reasoning on why I believe that. And you
yeah,
will see that.
because then that is a deep, deep rabbit hole that we're going down now. And it's so
When I
deep, we have to make sure that
tell you
all,
it's so deep, there's like five of us. You got canceled on there. You got Pam and Jackie and Pink. And when I tell you, you got people working on this literally all day, all night, Nina and me, like, and I tell you, we're still going. It's like every time we think that we've hit a bottom and we're like, oh, this is the situation, then you slide down another burrow hole and it's like you're in a whole different realm and you're like, how do things even go that deep? It's wild. It's wild. Absolutely wild.
somebody said that they think they are going to the bang 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 house. We don't know. But I mean, I have heard multiple people say that. Uh, if I didn't have to sell plasma and maybe, I don't know.
Hold on. What is that question? Yes. That was the wrong jurisdiction for. You're talking about the Fancy case?
Yeah.
That it was filed in the wrong jurisdiction?
Condiment. Somebody said
Right.
Gypsy's putting her condiments again.
Listen, I don't know if Stanfield wears ketchup, but whatever. Whatever. Yeah, it's just, the more I go into it, guys, it's like, man, it's wild. It's wild.
Wild
Yeah,
is really an understatement.
sauce in his pocket, like, yeah.
One thing I will say is that I thought that Stanfield would have had some like major connections. So although I feel like he's riding the gravy train on someone that's a POS, I don't think he's as bad. He's bad, right?
Not as good as he thinks he is.
Yes, literally just scratching the surface. Literally, because we are going to take you down a rabbit hole. You just better throw some
Yeah,
rope down there.
and I know it sounds like, why aren't you guys just telling us? Because I don't want to put out
No, it's
anything
like
that I don't
we
know for a
everything
fact.
has to be all like laid out, and there's just a couple of pieces more that we're trying to find the answers to.
Yeah, because we want to give you the
That
whole picture and
we'd
without
have
all
to
of the
give you the
details.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Then if one fact is even not a fact, then it kind of makes the whole thing crumble. So we want to
I
make sure
don't
that we
really think he got lucky and got a cash cow. And the reason why I say, and I will say this, you and I both said this last night. I have a feeling Gypsy is broke.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think she's got, yeah. She's not rolling in dough, guys.
I think Rod has more in his retirement plan than she probably ever got financially.
Like, yeah, I mean, what does she make per episode?
I think I heard 12 something, 12,000 and some change.
And there's 9
But think about
episodes
it. You
per
have a
season.
manager,
There's
you
9
have,
episodes per season, so you're making maybe 90,000, $100,000 for you. You don't have another job. Let's be real.
you
The
have a
book is
manager.
New York Times bestseller, but you have a manager now.
You
You
have
have,
a step momager.
yeah, I agree. She's not rolling in the dough. You gotta, Mr. Mom at home, DoorDashing.
Um,
And I don't know, at the end when you finally collect taxes, you didn't make anything off DoorDash. I'm
well,
just
that's
saying.
another thing. The taxes, you're right.
Yeah, you got to pay taxes on it also. I
She
mean,
doesn't, it's not like she's renting her
she's
home.
supporting Christy. She's supporting Ken. She's supporting Mike Stanfield, his wife and 4 kids. She's supporting, like, I mean, for real. You know what I mean? Like,
Allegedly.
she
Allegedly.
got this
Allegedly.
allegedly. And I mean, he works for her too. So I mean, he admitted it on the television. You are her manager, which means you work for her, which means she pays you. That's not alleged, that's fact, because that came from his mouth.
How
Yes.
low can you go? How low can you go? How low can you go? How
And then
low?
can I say something that I brought up to you before, and I just want to say this before we end this. Do you all remember Gypsy being on Vile Files? Okay? You all remember that? Do you all remember when she was talking about how her and Christy were looking for a lawyer because they wanted to sue the hospitals for all of the medical abuse that they went through, but no lawyer would pick up their case? Right? You guys all remember that when she said that in the thing? Why doesn't her lawyer on her staff do it? Because, I mean, if he was good enough to have such a great defense in your murder trial, why doesn't he? Because he also does personal injury and malpractice law. So why doesn't he pick that up for you, Christine Gypsy? Why doesn't he get that ball going? Since it's such a great case and you are so 100% the victim, why doesn't the lawyer in which you have on staff as your manager take that case? Unless it's not really a good case because, well, we know that Stanfield probably knows what the truth is. And so maybe that's why the lawyer you have on staff doesn't take your malpractice lawsuit or the one you said that you and Christy last year were trying to find a lawyer for, but nobody would take it. I'm just saying, I just want to put that out there. But, if it was really true, well, Mike defended her, right? He would know it was really true. Like, why? I mean, go for it. You don't even have to go. You went through all that evidence already, didn't you?
I wonder if Mike has some biscuits and gravy.
Thank you, Sherry. I don't know. I just want to know what a lawyer on staff who covers personal injury, criminal law, all of that, isn't defending her in that. I mean, he works for you, Gypsy. Just saying. He knows your case because wasn't that his defense? Munchausen by proxy? If he so believes it, then it's so true he shouldn't have a problem picking up the case for you and Christy, I'm just saying. But what do I know? I mean, who? They have all the records, yes. He does have all the records. There were no lost records during Katrina. Yes, it will all catch up to the mercy. Absolutely. Absolutely crazy. No. Did you? You know what I don't know if you want to go through these, but did you see the the her correspondence with the inmate she was seeing or dating or whatever
Oh,
from? I just think they're funny and since we'll end it with a little bit more funny because we're already doing funny. Um, I just wanted to bring these up. Do you guys remember the Nicholas Blackman, the inmate that she was, I don't know, what was she dating him, not dating him, like just writing letters to, seeing, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Chips guy? You guys remember him? You guys,
I
you
didn't
guys see his,
remember it until you refreshed my
well,
memory.
I want to bring up these text messages. I'm gonna read them just because I think they're funny and I get a little giggle out of them every time I read it. Um, except for I need to make this bigger because, well, hold on. All right, it says, I don't know what is going on with me, but it's like I'm on whatever it is I can't. I don't know what is going on with me, but it's like I'm high on whatever it is you do, the effect you have on me. I'm blushing, I'm giddy, I'm stupid happy. It's past midnight and I'm not sleepy. I want to go jump and skip. Oh, that sounds stupid, and you affect me physically. My heart's racing. I'm moist as freak, like I want you bad, and it's not just the typical. I'm just corny for anyone and everyone drill. I I specifically think of you. I don't even know what you look like. I have an idea, but this is crazy. A while back, I said when I get out, I'm gonna F the first random guy I see. Well, that's not true. I do have someone in mind though, and it do lots of tempting things to him. I'm gonna do lots of tempting things to him, especially giving exceptional close attention to his chest, as I know that's something he would enjoy. And I'm sure if he takes away my breath now, I'll be breathless then as well. So if you want to check yes or no.
How unfortunate that that didn't
And
happen.
then she had the little junior high school check yes or check no. Thank you, May. Um, Dear Mr. Chips and Soda, I guess that's what she called. This guy's name was Nick Blackman, okay? He was another Nick. That's wild too that he just happened to be a Nick. Dear Mr. Chips and Soda, so I just got off the phone with you 13 minutes ago. Seems like 5. Um, I'm still beaming red, probably will be for the rest of the night. I just wish I didn't have a habit of rambling and talking nonstop when I'm nervous. But I won't be in here forever. It only seems like forever. See the day. Rachel got one of your letters, and it said that you all were together. I cried in my classroom. I couldn't focus. I wanted to eat ice cream and cry, which is crazy. I know, because didn't she have a milk allergy? But that's the day I realized that I'm feeling more than just friendly feelings. Wait, did you say you got my name tattooed on you? This guy tattooed her name, Gypsy Rose's name, on him. Wait, did you say you got my name tattooed on you? What the F? You never put a chick or dude's name on your body. Okay, I'm calm. Well, at least I have a pretty name. So what job are you doing right now, and what do you normally do to pass the time? Hold on, there's one more.
Well, good news is at least she has a pretty name.
Yeah, I know. That's just absolutely wild. Hold on, there's one more. I gotta find it. So what job are you doing? P.S. I got a random letter from your prison. Don't you give my info to some random ass losers. Hey Nick, I got your letter. Remember, this is Nick Blackman, not Nick Godejohn. Hey Nick, I got your letter. I'm so sorry. It's been crazy here. I got another damn violation. This time it wasn't my fault. See, my friends from Seattle came to visit me, and while we were just, and then you can't see anything. For a TV series, I got paid big time. They want a list of actors for it anyway, so you gotta do basically 3 years flat. Oh Nick, sigh, I'm so sorry. Well, on the bright side, you got me to write to. I see the board in 3 years. Maybe at some point I'll see a pic of you. Do y'all want to see a pic of him? Jack, can you send me a picture of him? It's in there. I want to show you what this guy looks like. He almost looks like him. Yes. Oh no, Jack's getting it. I think it's so funny. I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of got that same like balding that Ken has now. Like, what year was this? I have to, hold on. Actually, I could tell you what year this was. It was in, I think it was 19. Let me check my email because I think it was 19. Or did you send it? I think the fact that this guy, she's got to type. Well, she's got to type. I think she's got to type. And I think it's funny. But she never saw him. I just think it's funny.
We could say he got she got a type.
I'm just, well, we know that, yeah.
He lacking balls.
Come on, Moo. Come on, go lay down. All right, let me make sure that y'all can't see my. I think that's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you know the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, a tree
Yeah.
fell on him, and well,
A
that's
tree fell on who?
like a long time ago. That's how he became like in a wheelchair.
Oh, oh.
Okay, and So obviously, he sued, got money, but he's trying to prevent that from people being able to do that, right? So the funny part is that one of the senators or a congresswoman called him Hot Wheels, which that's the name for him around Texas because he's a POS, right? And tell me why you're gonna laugh. Abbott hopped on Elon Musk's app Thursday and reposted a meme from the former NFL player, which compares Abbott to the X-Men character who both uses wheelchairs. The governor says, "Gotta add this to my resume. Need the outfit. They'll see me rolling."
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Governor says, "Gotta add this to my resume. Need the outfit. They gonna see me rolling."
Oh, wow. Not seeing him rolling. I know what you told her.
That has to be, and this is him in the X-Men outfit. They're unserious. Like, this is unserious.
Listen, I like people that are funny with senses of humor.
Well, you kind of have. Man, listen. You got to. Like, you.
I don't have that, guys. That's a troll. That's not an actual violation.
Oh, I used to get those a lot when I first started going live, and I used to think I was getting violated all the time. And it's so funny because when you just said it, I totally forgot that used to happen a lot.
Yeah, they're all there like, "And you're live, and you're live," and I'm like, that's so funny. That's pretty smart though, because like if I didn't know any better, I'm like, "Oh my god, I got a violation. Let me end my life."
Right. That's probably Brie.
Yeah, it's Gypsy herself. It's Mike Stanfield. Because he's trolling the mean streets of TikTok. Well, he has one, so there's that. His whole family has it. But yeah.
But y'all, it's been a night.
Yes, guys. Yeah, it's so late. I'm so tired. I've had quite a day. Mike should get in the box to get the gift basket, Jackie. That's so funny. Hot Wheels is your governor.
The endless jokes about him is, and you know what I think is funny is that most people collectively in Texas feel the same way, which makes it extra funny. The fact that Gio is still trolling minutes to 12 is insanity and diabolic.
That's so funny. My cat's trolling.
You hear him at the top of the stairs saying, "Mommy."
Yeah, guys. Do me a favor, guys. If you're in here, can you guys do me a favor? And when you're on YouTube, give me a follow over on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. This cat, I'm fighting this cat in like 2 seconds. We're gonna be fighting, like throwing fists and paws, because this cat won't leave me alone. But yeah, do me a favor. If you guys are not following me over on YouTube, don't give me a follow. Also, yes, I don't know. I just lost what I was gonna say. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I'm tired. It is 1 a.m. for me. So I'm really tired.
We'll see you guys.
I will be back on, guys. Thank you so much for liking the live. Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we went on late tonight. That was my fault. It's been really hectic. And we've been so busy, but we will be back. We will be back with more. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you later, Nina.
Bye, y'all. You too.